Twilight Spirits is a dungeon-based MMORPG focused heavily on action combat and cinematic-type graphics. The Chinese open beta is available to download and play from the Netease main website and also on Steam. The game isn't ready with an English version as of yet, but the fact that the Chinese version is on Steam already is a pretty good sign that Netease might develop a North American version too. Today I want to go over what the game has to offer and tell you a bit about its main features. I plan to check it out in the next few days, mainly to find out for myself if the action combat is actually as fun as I've heard. And unlike Korean MMOs, Twilight Spirits will not have any IP blocks, so it's gonna be fairly easy to get into and won't be a hassle to try out. What I know so far is that the game's main appeal is the true action combat, with fights focused on testing how well you can dodge, block, and position your character. It's apparently designed to discourage mindless keyboard smashing and is geared to be a true action combat with no options for tap target. From what I can find, the gameplay, at least in the early stage, is fairly simple and feels very much like Cryy Online and Dragon Nest. Everything mainly takes place in short instance dungeons where you go from one room to another, hacking away at monsters till you reach a dungeon boss, and players are given a grade based on performance at the end of each run. There's no open world, but rather nearly 100 different dungeons and 4 different types of PvP modes. The general pace of the game is supposed to be pretty fast and is geared for players that don't want to log in every day and spend hours doing dailies only to keep up with other people's gear score. Rather, Twilight Spirits will have more rewards for skilled players instead of being heavily based on gear. One example of this is the time freeze system. Basically, if you're doing well in a fight and you're dodging enemy attacks accurately, then your whole party is rewarded with buffs and the monsters you're fighting go into slow motion, making them easier to kill. The game will have 6 total classes: Gunner, Blade Master, Shadow Rogue, Fighter, Sword Mage, and Mage Healer. The 2 newest ones being the Gunner and the Healer. I was initially very keen on playing the Shadow Rogue because I've always liked playing dual dagger type of characters, and the Shadow Rogue reminds me a lot of Revelation's Occultist with all the crow summonings, which is a pretty cool combination. Now though, I think I'm much more interested in the Gunner after watching the trailer for it. It's got more of a powerful android, Terminator kind of feel that looks a lot more unique to me. I've never in my life played a character that can transform into a motorcycle. As for character skill, every character can have 5 normal skills and 1 ultimate skill, kinda like in a MOBA game. If and when it does enter the Western market, I'm not so sure how it'll compete with games with similar gameplay like Cryy Online that's got a much more interesting and deep combo skill system. But with that few skills, it makes me think that this was meant to be a mobile game, but I won't judge it too harshly until I can play it because it might be enough for what the game aims to be. For now, there's no announcement for an English release anyways. For endgame content, there's Arena PvP, Guild vs Guild, and apparently also other team-based PvP geared more for casual players. Hopefully what they mean by casual is referring to a type of equalized arena. The PvP definitely reminds me of Revelation and Cry's 3v3 arenas, and kind of feels like a combination of the two. I really like that the arenas are big, so you have opportunities to pull people away and have little pockets of 1v1s and 2v2s. Even though it's coming out on Steam, keep in mind that for the time being, it's only available in Chinese. Netease has mentioned that an English version is under consideration under Steam discussion, but we don't know if it's necessarily talking about a Western version. There's no news on any plans for a Western version yet, but I think if it does well in China, then we're very likely to get an English release in the future, especially with Netease expanding to the Western market pretty aggressively lately with games like Revelation, Eternal Arena, and Tomb of the Sun. My hope is that if and when they do, Netease will not make the mistake of giving another title to a company like Madichams that care very little about their players. I feel like this game could do well in the West because it's a fast-paced game, which lately have been getting more and more popular in comparison to time-consuming MMOs. Cryy, for example, is doing pretty well, and that game is pretty similar. As for how Twilight Spirits will compete with other games, I imagine the attraction will mainly be on the unique playable characters, and also mainly the fact that it's new, because we have Cryy, C9, and Vindictus that are still alive and kicking, and those are much more polished games with good action combat as well, and Cryy just hit open beta not that long ago. I'll talk more about what I think of this game after I played it for a few days, and determine whether or not it's worth following up on if it gets announced for North America. To play the game, all you have to do is make a Netease account, which you might already have if you played the Chinese version of Revelation. After that, download the game by clicking this big yellow button. I'll have the links to everything in the description and a bit more info on how to play it. You can also just download it through Steam. For now, I plan to play Critica's Open Beta, Tale of Tosis Alpha, and now Twilight Spirits, and also check out a few other new games like the Mythical Realm 2 and Estelia Online, so expect to see content on a bunch of new games pretty soon. I just want to quickly note that MMO site, the gaming site I often write for, is celebrating its 12-year anniversary and is doing a lot of giveaways for mounts and gift packs for a bunch of different games, Steam gift cards and stuff like that, so check that out if you want. They may have something for a game you play. I'll put the links in the description as well. Thank you for watching, and if you want to talk about any of the games I mentioned with me and my community, don't be shy to join my Discord.